I really need to get a grip today, folks. It's unbelievable what is happening here. CC versus Ripple. It's absolutely unbelievable. I made a video this morning. Definitely feel free to check it out right here before or after I do. So I'm here. I made a very clear statement indeed this very morning that I actually believe the appeal or the deadline for submitting Form Cs ends tomorrow at midnight. For a bit more clarity, the night vision devices, well, now I have found a few more posts, and as I said, I am not providing financial or investment advice. I am not a lawyer, and certainly not in the United States regarding securities law. Who all this is or was is indeed James Murphy, also known as Metalore, and he has, in fact, posted a tweet. As you may know, we'll get back to that later. Because in the end, I have a few points that make me feel, how should I put this, more optimistic that everything is now gaining some real momentum and in a very exciting way. But no financial or investment advice. If you want to invest in cryptocurrencies, in XRP, in Bitcoin, in Ethereum, do your research, educate yourselves, and don't listen to content creators on YouTube who are promoting something or singing some song about 100x. Check it out. I am a fan of applications that solve specific problems for each project. So, and indeed, welcome to the channel, my friends. So, I would like to start now with a tweet with some news from crypto. Indirectly. Decreasing inflation risk by the European Central Bank has recently lowered the interest rate significantly to 3.25%. Diminishing inflation risk, or rather a likely crumbling economy. I don't know how you see it with the inflation figures. Well, a rascal who thinks ill of it. FINEXTRA has also released something here which I find quite interesting. The Prague Stock Exchange is introducing a highly innovative distributed ledger technology-based settlement system. Let's briefly take a look at the DLT-based settlement system from the Prague Stock Exchange for a quick overview. The Prague Stock Exchange is introducing distributed ledger technology for the settlement of securities under the EU's DLT pilot regime, such. Are you also thinking about the tokenization of real-world assets? Well, so am I. All articles are listed in the order I show you below in the video description. As follows. You can of course read everything there. If you are wondering whether any crypto projects are mentioned here, no. But it is indeed a pilot project of the EU, so patience is also required there. The market is so young and we have so much time. Then Cointelegraph, I think it's really nice. Breaking. Italy will increase the capital gains tax on cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin from 26% to 42%. So it seems that the capital gains tax on crypto will increase from 26% to 42%. That means you buy in, make a profit of 4,000, and then you quickly have to pay 4,200 in taxes in lovely Italy. Not defining. Now it gets interesting. Questions have arisen on Exusand, formerly Twitter, about what sense this makes. Well, people should consider investing in ETFs. Why? Well, self-custody isn't exactly a hit with governments. Well, moving on. And then I have a message from Swift himself. Starting January 25th, we will improve our payment control services to help banks detect potential fraud in real time using AI. The service will provide the financial world with accurate insights into potentially fraudulent activities. A significant challenge that costs the industry billions every year. Malicious actors are using increasingly sophisticated tactics to commit financial crime. And the global financial industry must strengthen its defenses to ensure that its customers can continue to conduct transactions worldwide with confidence, says Jerome Pia, Chief Product Officer at Swift. Want to learn more? Well, I don't really need to know more now. I think we all know what it's about. It's about transaction tracking, which is of course supported by DLT and AI, so that sanctioned or insecure accounts can simply be put on hold, preventing them from siphoning off funds. I find this a very positive step. Again, this brings to mind thoughts about the MiCA regulation. But now let's dive into the main topic, the Securities and Exchange Commission versus Ripple. What was going on here? The Securities and Exchange Commission has filed an appeal, announced at the federal court in the Southern District of New York on October 2. Well, this document was then submitted on October 3rd to the Second Circuit, the appellate court, and on October 4th. Was it then docked, meaning it was officially and properly recorded with a case number? All further disputes are taking place here. Please, folks, stay tuned. The best part is coming at the end. And now, it's about this Form C. This appeal announcement was submitted by the Securities and Exchange Commission. It's a formality any intern could fill out. It just states that we will appeal. Okay, then the Securities and Exchange Commission has 14 days to submit Form C. It specifies exactly what the Securities and Exchange Commission is appealing against. In the ruling of Judge Annalisa Torres, specifically, it was the remedial ruling, not the summary judgment issued by her. Due to the summary judgment, the Securities and Exchange Commission has already stated that they will not appeal against the ruling, that XRP is not a security in and of itself. I keep pointing out why this case now affects the XRP price. Well, Ripple has formed an incredible and significant number of partnerships, and they are not yet publicizing all the announcements, test runs, etc. And they will only do that once this case is concluded. That is my opinion. Well, now let's dive into the other interesting topics. And before I do that, folks, please take a look at this adorable baby. Incredibly, fresh out of the womb, with a facial expression that suggests nothing can go wrong. This is the son of Fred R.S. Pauley. A heartfelt congratulations goes out. This child is a ray of sunshine and nothing else. He writes, "My friends, if you have noticed a decline in my posting lately, I am happy to announce the birth of my newest child, Xavier Patrick Rispoli. Parentheses, the best thing I could do to, well, get XRP in his name. May I introduce him?" That's the one. After I told him that we are literally heading towards $8 soon. Well, I would look just as he does. Xavier 2001, welcome to this really absolutely crazy world. I hope you and your mom are doing well. Now I will continue and talk again about the fundamentals of XRP and what has happened in the past, as well as about real USD, just a little. I have expressed this a few times already, namely the following. Dark Defender. Ripple is moving forward gradually, while people are still preoccupied with things they do not understand. Don't you see what is coming? After regulatory approval of the RLUSD, RL Euro, and RL Japanese Yen, they will very soon be introduced. All will use XRP. And further in the text, watch a guru, Justin, file documents with Grayscale to convert his digital LARP cap fund, which includes Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, and AVEX into an ETF. This certainly means that Grayscale wants to convert its trust into an ETF with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Grayscale has not been doing so well, but it has been very successful in suing the Securities and Exchange Commission when it comes to the SEC. Wanting to prohibit such conversions or dragging things out, Grayscale has won. Then, without this ruling, in the case of Grayscale versus, let's say we didn't have a Bitcoin ETF that is currently experiencing record inflows. Continuing in the text, it is interesting to note how two XRP ETFs submitted by Bitwise and Canary Capital have reacted. And now there is an ETF that includes XRP alongside 4 other coins submitted by Grayscale. This is thus the third ETF that holds XRP. As I already mentioned, the Securities and Exchange Commission's appeal in the Ripple case seems to have no impact on the ETF submissions. Now that XRP is in, as you know the drill, so let me get into the interesting things. Once again, I want to clarify that I am not a lawyer, especially not in securities law. I have been following this case, and in the last 2.5 or 3 years, during which I have been deeply involved, what I have learned is that you cannot trust the Securities and Exchange Commission at all, and that they simply have no idea. I don't know, because Howie's song doesn't work anymore as more and more judges are determining. Now, I will return to the specific topic and this particular letter. That indeed came from Eleanorette. Here, Judge Deborah N. Livingston has just written to Doc the notice that it has been received. The form must be completed and returned within 14 days of the date of this notice. That the 14 days I interpret it this way, but let's wait and see if Ripple interprets it the same way. Speak until the 18th. Now there are voices saying, yes, that would then be the 17th if it is 14 days, because the 4th counts. No, a day still has 24 hours, and if I calculate 24 hours from the 4th to the 5th, I could keep going until the 18th. Sorry for that. Then we move on. Because Fred Rees-Polly has also reacted to this, as he indeed believed 16, but he writes something very interesting here, which is the crazy part of the legal profession. There are vast collections of libraries that could be filled with cases all focusing on when something was filed, whether the filing was expanded by another factor, whether time zones were properly considered, and other related factors, and other similar factors, and so on. Fred R.S. Bowley, who has also written about this, I addressed this earlier today, mentioning that the Securities and Exchange Commission and regulatory authorities in general always seem to have a bit of an advantage when it comes to such matters. Whether this is the case remains to be seen. I won't keep you waiting long, as I saved the best for last. Now let's move on to Paul Greville, the Chief Legal Officer of Coinbase, who is also in a dispute with the Securities and Exchange Commission and has reacted once again. Because I personally believe that the Securities and Exchange Commission will request an extension for another 2 or 4 weeks. That was also a topic. And he wrote the following, and I actually celebrate that. Maybe they think that perhaps Ripple and the Second Circuit should also wait 3 years for their statement. Because that is what the Securities and Exchange Commission expressed. To the legal team of Coinbase, they requested that they only need 3 years. Years, folks. Years. While we are talking about hours here. But now I come to the post by James Murphy from 2021, and it actually makes me doubt a little whether it was indeed the 16th. But as I said, I am Keinwald. If I am wrong here, I am happy to be wrong. You cannot misunderstand anything. I am simply just going by what Judge Livingston has stated here. 4th doct plus 14 is 18. But he writes the following. Update on the Ripple appeal. I could perhaps be mistaken, but I believe the deadline for the Securities and Exchange Commission to submit Form C expired last night at midnight. This could indicate the following. A. An error by the Securities and Exchange Commission. B. A technical malfunction with the electronic filing system. C. A decision by the Securities and Exchange Commission to withdraw its appeal. Or D. An agreement with Ripple to drop both appeals. C seems unlikely to me, as a complainant of the Securities and Exchange Commission almost never, or the Securities and Exchange Commission almost never, would unilaterally waive a complaint if a follow-up complaint was filed, namely, the cross-appeal by Ripple on October 10th. Without first reaching an agreement with the intervening appellant, namely Ripple, he will also withdraw his intervening appeal. Otherwise, in this situation, the complainant is confronted with the sector with the worst of all possible worlds, only with a potentially significant downside risk from the subsequent appeal. My calculation of the deadline is based on the fact that the complaint was filed approximately on October 2nd. The date of registration is what counts according to the federal appellate rules. It is important to note that holidays and weekends in between do not change the specified deadline. This means that the impact in Form C states that the complaint will be dismissed if it is not submitted on time, and this must be adhered to strictly. However, the local rules of the Second Circuit state that the appeal may be dismissed if the Formula C is not filed within the deadline. No legal advice. Please note, if I have misunderstood anything, I will repost it with a correction. The Second Circuit, if it deems necessary, can dismiss the appeal. So they can also accept Form C outside of the deadline. Okay, all clear. Do we understand that so far? I hope so. Well, okay, now let's talk about Judge Livingston. I have already made a video about Annalisa Torres and what I think of her. She is a judge on the federal court in the Southern District of New York who was appointed by the then President Barack H. Obama, who is a member of the Democratic Party. And she is a registered Democrat. Well, I thought I would take a look. Who is the judge? Well, who is the judge? Deborah Ann Livingston, the chief. That doesn't mean she is indeed leading this hearing, but she is indeed the head of the Second Circuit. And now please take a look at this. Deborah Ann Livingston is currently a United States attorney who serves as the Chief Judge of the United States Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit. Then career. All the universities. She was indeed appointed by George W. Bush, the penultimate Republican president in the orphanage. All right, let's move on. And Federal Justice Service. And here we have a remarkable ruling. In the month of December 2019, Livingston indeed expressed his partial opposition to the decision made by the Federal Appeals Court that ordered Donald Trump to comply with a subpoena and submit all his tax returns to the then Democratic-led U.S. House of Representatives. She explains that, in her view, she cannot come to terms with the final conclusions of the majority that this case does not concern the separation of powers, and that at best there is a minimal risk that this and future presidents will be distracted in any way by legislative subpoenas of this kind. Of Livingston, the presiding judge, said she would refer the case back to a lower court and, in a detailed statement, request that the representatives provide more comprehensive and extensive details about the legislative purposes behind their motions before carefully and thoroughly deciding whether the banks need to comply. She did exactly that. One of the rulings, one of those 10%, was sent back to the lower court by not affirming the judgment. This decision was quite significant as it meant that the case would be reconsidered, potentially altering the outcome. Well, let's start over, friends. As mentioned, Judge Torres has changed 0% of the rulings, all of which were confirmed back. Judge Livingston, certainly a Republican appointed by President Bush, has previously ruled partially in favor of Trump. And she is now the head of the Court of the Second Circuit. 1,000. I don't know how you see it, friends. Coincidence. Coincidence. When I look at this, the smaller time frames give way, directing the signals, writes Dark Defender, but the monthly chart has no more room left when the support and resistance lines intersect, the XRP. After that, the run begins. XRP will definitely be unstoppable when we see the price above the Ichimoku waves. Well, let's be surprised. Indeed, he is setting an elevated high here at the Fibonacci of G. What is it? I believe it's here. Somewhere in the middle, 355, would be a nice start for 2001. Everything comes to an end. Eventually, under certain circumstances, this legal dispute may also come to a close. So, in conclusion, my final thought, am I correct with my 18th? If I look at the document, then yes. Metal arms. And now it gets interesting. Securities lawyer in the USA, 2001, Dear Cruz goes out. He knows a bit better about it, as there are irritations with X, even among the lawyers, who are Siemens. But Meta Lorman seems to be doing very well. He has always been damn right. Let's be surprised. If you are right, it actually ended last midnight at the transition from the 16th to the 17th of October, 2010. Will Judge Livingston now grant a motion from the Ripple team that the Securities and Exchange Commission simply dropped the ball? I believe so. In fact, I do believe that. And let's not forget, today at 2 p.m. is then time for us. At 8 p.m., a sunshine meeting will take place at the Securities and Exchange Commission. I think it will get louder. But okay, what should I say? That's it from me for now. It's time to wrap up for today. And I thank you for your attention. It's unbelievable, guys. It's unbelievable. Right? Write to me in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell. That's it from me for today. If anything comes up tonight, I will do a live stream, I promise. So I wish you all the best. Take your time, and please stay healthy. A shout out again to Fred Riesboli for this sunshine. Let me show you again, or come now. Take a look at this baby. Isn't it amazing? I will also be watching if my prediction comes true, and we are looking at between 7 and 10, 2001. If it is already shining at 8, what will happen with us when it goes to 9? But I don't have a crystal ball. As I said, that's it from me again, and I'll see you in the next video. And today we have the credits. I can't do anything. I can't do it any other way. Bye, friends.
To lead in 2001, global digital payment system, and they use XRP. In 2013, the Federal Reserve began looking for faster payments. 2 years later, a federal payments task force was created. It included the Better Than Cash Alliance, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Clinton Global Initiative, and the governments of 32 countries. They published a report, The Opportunities of Digitizing Payments. The Better Than Cash Alliance featured one crypto company on their website. Ripple Better Than Cash. The Better Than Cash Alliance and UN initiatives focus on one agenda, 2030 SDGs. The SDGs logo is on Bill Gates' lapel, top companies, and the UN's official exchange. Exchange using what crypto is exchange using for their carbon credit solution. ISO 2022. Who was the first ISO 2022 member focused on DLT? who's partnered with over 300 financial institutions: Bank of America, American Express, PNC, Santander, SBI, HSBC, Standard Chartered, England, India, Singapore, Scotland, Australia, and Indonesia, Japan, Canada, Egypt, Middle East, United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Bhutan, South Korea, Brazil, and Latin America. Ripple, with a former employee at the Federal Reserve, a former employee at the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock's digital asset division, leads Australia's CBDC effort. Ripple has hired a former U.S. Treasury official, 2 former Federal Reserve attorneys, 2 former advisors to Clinton and Obama, a former Minister of Defense and Economics of Germany, a former business director at SWIFT, a former SWIFT board member, a former CFO of PayPal, a former head of the DTCC, a former chief business officer at Uber, a former VP of Amazon, and a former SEC chair on their legal team. Ripple is a member of the Digital Pound Foundation, Digital Dollar Project, Digital Euro Association, Mojaloop, IMF's High-Level Advisory Board on FinTech, Hyperledger Blockchain Consortium, Open Payments Coalition, Vaster Payments Council, Global Payments Steering Group, Cross-Border Working Group, International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, Crypto Climate Accord, University Blockchain Initiative, World Wide Web Consortium, Ripple. Now, does Ripple and XRP sound like they're going to disappear, or do they sound like they're part of a much bigger plan? You decide.